Greetings guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Elio. In today's video we will be covering Tosen. So without further ado you guys, let's go ahead and get this party started. Alright, so as you guys can see, unfortunately I don't have Tosen unlocked. Maybe one day I think I need like 30 more Tosen shards. But anyways, I just figured I would review him as this was a viewer request. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Obviously I can't really show too much of him because I just don't have him, but it's not a super big deal. We can work through it, boys. We can work through it. But his specialty is obviously being an attacker type, and he's back row bleed. We can also see that he is in Azure Tiger, which is very similar, if not the same, to Jin. However, Jin is given to us for basically free, while Tosen we have to earn to pull. That's commonly the biggest difference between the two, other than the skills. But let's go ahead and check those skills out actually. Alright, so for his combo skill, which is Cry Suzumushi, it deals damage to a single enemy and it deals bleed damage to the target, and it lasts for 2 rounds. Now bleed damage is based on the attacker's damage, so obviously the more attack that you can give Tosen, the better off he's gonna be, not bleed. So there's nothing really else to this skill other than it applying bleed, which is perfectly fine for a combo mastery skill, and I don't really have any complaints for that because he is a bleeder just like Jin is, and Ichigo and Zangetsu, and also Byakuya. Let's go over here to his rage skill though. Suzumushi Nikishiki Benehiko. I'm just gonna slaughter names. It's what I do. But anyways, this deals damage to enemies back row. So the 3 targets in the back row, which are normally just attackers, which are a lot squishier than the front row, is what this targets, which is actually a big deal. But anyways, this move right here deals bleed damage to the target, which lasts for 2 rounds, which is always great to have. And obviously once his weapon is awakened, the damage is increased, and skill damage on it is pretty much average. Bleed damage is nothing special, but this is purely a bleed unit, and I absolutely love bleed units, so I would love to have him actually one day. For his 3rd skill slot, we can see right here is just something to boost his attack up, which synergizes extremely well. And for his 4th skill, which is his passive, attack on the senses, when he is alive, the attack of the back row allies is increased, so all of your other attackers in the back row also gain a bonus for damage from him being there. And then he decreases the damage reduction rate of his target by 10% after he unleashes his rage skill. So after his rage skill is unleashed, we can see right here that their damage reduction rate is decreased by 10%, so that's always good to have. 10% isn't super big, but in the grand scheme of things it could be very helpful. So that's pretty much his skills. They're all centered around bleed. So next up I will just include the war souls here, just to make this video just very short and sweet, as I'm sure a lot of people like it. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it for Tosen. I would say overall, obviously if you're going to run a Tosen in your party, your team should be synergized around having a lot of bleed. So you should definitely have Ichigo if you don't already. Even though he eventually gets replaced, you should be running Jin, you should be running Byakuya, and also Zangetsu, because all of these characters have bleed, and the more bleed that you have, the better things are. So do keep that in mind, that everyone needs bleed, which is very important. But overall I think he's a great addition to have. He's a great unit to have, just for the simple fact that number 1, there's a lot of bleed in every move that he does, and that he also increases the attack of your attackers, which is always nice to have. Would I say that he's better than Jin? His moves, some of them I feel like are better, but some of them are just pretty much equal in terms of Jin, in my opinion, at the very minimum. But it's really up to you guys that actually have him and actually can put him to use, which would serve better justice. But overall, I think he's a solid bleed unit to have, and he's someone that I would just love to have especially on my squad one day as well. But that's Tosen, you guys. If you have another character request for a next video, feel free to leave that in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.